if you just want to steel man that argument of the Wikipedia, Lucky Louie, Guerrilla Skeptics,
Yeah.
I'm sort of familiar with it, but
Well,
not
I
too, like I
guess,
made a video on it, but I don't know too much about it.
yeah. So Wikipedia obviously is online encyclopedia that anyone can edit. I used to edit it myself, like back, like, I don't know, 10, well, more than that. It was back in a long time ago, like 14, 15 years ago or something like that. And I kind of got disillusioned with editing it because, you have to jump through all these hoops. It was more fun just essentially blogging. So I said I moved over to doing my contrail science blog and then Metabunk and never really looked back. But back then, I did. Yeah, I originally logged on under my own name, Mick West, and then I decided I'd rather be anonymous, so I switched to a different account, which is called Herd of Swine. It's a biblical reference when I was talking about Bible stuff at the time.
Sure.
And then I wanted to edit like some other pages. I edited it as Mick West. I think it was like the Parasol Stars page because I worked on Parasol Stars is an old arcade game, like Tato game. And I edited that as Mick West, and that somehow like triggered like this sock puppet detection thing, and I got my account was banned. And then years later, I asked for it to be restored, and it was restored. So this was like a little bit of context to my own personal Wikipedia thing, but that's pretty
Sure.
much
Of
all of my
course.
Wikipedia experience because I've done nothing except like maybe correct a few typos here and there as I see them in the last like 15 years. So recently, like, there's a couple of people on Twitter, Matt Ford and Rob Heatherly. I think Rob Heatherly is the guy who's really been into investigating this. And they've been looking at the edits that have been made by a group of people called Guerrilla Skeptics on Wikipedia. And they are a group run by Susan Gerbic, who is like, someone I know. Like, I've seen her at conferences and, met her several times. I'm not a member of this Guerrilla Skeptics group. But so she runs this Guerrilla Skeptics group, and their goal, which I agree with, is to improve Wikipedia from a skeptical scientific perspective. So that means going into articles, say on stuff like mediums, mediums who speak to the dead, and making sure that there's kind of scientific balance to the claims they're making. Because often what happens is in kind of niche subjects like that, the fans of that subject, like the fans of the medium or the fans of a particular person, will go in and they'll make edits that are kind of more favorable to the person. And so, the Wikipedia skeptics kind of try to establish balance. And of course, they're doing it from a skeptical perspective, which means that it gets a little bit, I guess, like skewed towards skepticism, which if you're a skeptic, of course, you don't think that's a bad thing. We all should be
Sure.
asking for relevant claims and whatnot. So they've been editing various pages for years, and about 5% of what they edit is actually UFO pages. It's a fairly small percentage of what they edit. And I think Rob saw some of the edits being made to these pages because the good thing about Wikipedia is it's all public domain. Like, it's all open, and that includes the edit history. So you can look at any page and you can see every single edit that was made to that page, and you can see who made that edit. They'll usually type in a comment explaining why they did it. And then you can see what the changes were. And so he found some of these changes he didn't like. They seemed to be downplaying certain things about people and removing bits of text. When I say he, we're talking about a specific editor that he found issue, which is a guy called Lucky Louie, who's I think a member of the Guerrilla Skeptics organization. I'm not entirely sure about that, but yeah, I think he is because it's all been in the mix. And originally, they thought that Lucky Louie was me, which he isn't, and he should be able to tell that by just going and looking in the guy's edits. The guy's, excuse me, the guy's really interested in like ham radio. Like, yeah, people who try to talk to people around the world. He's really into that and a
Yeah.
bunch of other stuff. He's just some old guy that I don't know who he is. I don't really have any idea of who he is either. I don't think Susan knows who he is. I think he's just some anonymous editor on Wikipedia. I'm not sure if he's even a member of her group, but he's not me. But anyway, so Rob Heatherly has say he doesn't like these edits, and they try to go and change some edits. Problem with Wikipedia though is that for a beginner, when you go in there and you start editing it, it's first of all, it's kind of intimidating because it has this weird like markup language that you've got to kind of learn for doing links and things. And it's
Okay.
also there's lots and lots of guidelines, and they're not immediately obvious where they are and how to find them. And some of them are really, really long documents, but and the editors
Sure.
have been there for years. They kind of know how to use it. When you
Yeah.
come in there as a
Makes
new
sense.
person and you start editing it, you edit something, you think, oh, this is wrong. Like say, Lou Elizondo, he was born in Texas, I think, but he in his article it says he was born in Florida, in like Miami, I think. I'm not entirely sure. And the reason it says that in the Wikipedia article is that there is a magazine article, which is a reliable source, which says that he was born in Miami. Now, people who know Lou Elizondo, maybe he himself, they think, oh, that's bullshit. I was born in Texas, and go in there and you change it. But because you're deleting something that actually has a reference, it kind of like that breaks the Wikipedia guidelines, and so you can't correct it. So people go in there and they try to make good faith edits. They know something is wrong, but they just go in and just delete something that has a reference and type something else instead with no reference, and then they
Sure.
expect that to stay. And what happens? It gets reverted. And so it seems like there's this, I don't know, a conspiracy to keep things a certain way. And so, that's basically what's been happening is, these people have been editing it. They're nothing really to do with me. Although, like I said, I know Susan Gerby. We go to the same conventions. We both have one of these plaques here because we're both members of the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry. We're fellows of that.
Yeah.
But I'm not part of her group, and she's doing stuff I think mostly in good faith. Well, I think it's entirely in good faith to try to improve Wikipedia, but it comes across as being, not favorable to ufology, because of people who believe in certain aspects of ufology are going to be like, oh, it's a skeptic editing it.
Sure.
And that's about the size of things. That's kind of what happened.
Yeah. And the show, the Good Trouble show, right, with
Oh
Matt
yeah,
Ford,
yeah,
they did this expose, I don't know what you want to call it, whatever they called it. It's like a two,
yeah,
three-parter. I honestly it was too
yeah. It's
much
like
to
5
watch.
hours of
I
stuff, and
couldn't
they were
watch
going
all of
through
it.
edits. Yeah,
Yeah. So they, made some pretty, I would say pretty serious accusations against you. And I saw you on Twitter being like, well, hey, let me come on and defend myself on your show, and they pretty much denied you and said, you're an issue for national security. And I
yeah.
thought,
I know that was
wait
kind
a
of funny,
second.
wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
I've
look,
I've done enough damage to national security that he didn't want to give me a platform. Although he was fine talking about me for 5 hours on his show, but
sure.
yeah, he
I
didn't want me
look,
to come on.
I'm neutral in this. I just want to like report on it and give you
Yeah,
an
no, I appreciate it.
opportunity here. But I will say that I just didn't think that was fair.
Yeah,
And yeah, I thought that was just personally, I thought that was definitely going way too far. National security, like what are we talking about? That
well,
just blew my mind. But I just thought, well, okay, Mick deserves a chance to defend himself on this case.
no, I
Fairly.
appreciate that.
That's really what I thought.